So this morning, I get a snap at about 7 o'clock in the morning. It's from my buddy Eric. He says, "Good morning, sunshine. How's my little ketchup packet?" I said back, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Oh my gosh, that wasn't for you. That was for my girlfriend. She's on her period." He called her a ketchup packet. So little Johnny ended up getting the coronavirus. And he's laying in his hospital bed with his mask on. And the nurse comes in and he says, "Ma'am, are my testicles black?" She says, "No, I'm pretty sure everything's okay." He said, "Nurse, are my testicles black?" She said, "Well, I'm not a doctor, but I think you're fine." He said, "Nurse, are my testicles black?" Well, at this point, she's getting a little flustered, so she lifts up his gown, lifts up his pecker and his balls, and he blows his load right there. And he pulls off his mask. He says, "Well, thank you for that, but I was just wondering if my test results were back." Little Johnny goes to the store and he tries to buy some dog food. He brings the dog food up to the counter, and the clerk says, "Well, we can't sell you this." He said, "Why?" He says, "Well, we need to have proof that you actually have a dog." So little Johnny goes home and grabs his dog, brings it back, and they sell him the dog food. Well, a week later, little Johnny goes in there again, brings some cat food up to the counter, and they said, "Well, we can't sell you this." Little Johnny says, "Why?" He says, "Well, we have to have evidence that you have a cat." Little Johnny goes home again, grabs the cat, brings it back, they sell him the cat food. Little Johnny's getting really upset. So the next day, he brings in a little box. He has a little hole in it, and he says, "Hey, why don't you put 2 fingers in here?" So the clerk puts 2 fingers in there, and she says, "Oh, it's nice and warm." Little Johnny says, "Oh, okay, so you're satisfied. Can I get some toilet paper now?" Teacher says, "Little Johnny, I got a riddle for you. What building has the most stories?" He says, "That's easy. It's the Sears Tower." She says, "Well, the correct answer is a library, but I like the way you're thinking." He says, "All right, Teach, I got one for you. When I go in, I can cause pain. I fill your holes when you ask me to. I also ask that you spit and not swallow. What am I?" Teacher says, "Little Johnny, you go to the principal's office." He says, "What for? I'm a dentist, but I like the way you're thinking." Little Johnny's sitting out in his front yard with a bottle of turpentine, shaking it up and down so he can see the bubbles when a priest walks by. He says, "What do you got there, little Johnny?" Little Johnny says, "This here's turpentine. It's the most powerful liquid in the world." The priest says, "No, that's where you're wrong." He pulls out a little bottle and he says, This is holy water. And if you rub this on a pregnant woman's belly, she'll pass a beautiful baby boy." Little Johnny says, "Oh, yeah? You take just a drop of this turpentine, put it on my cat's ass, and he'll pass a motorcycle." So little Johnny says, "Hey, little Susie, sex at my place tonight?" And she says, "Sure." He says, "Well, I gotta warn you. I sleep on a bunk bed with my little brother, and I'm on top, so we need to come up with a code word." He says, "We'll make him think that we're making sandwiches." So salami means harder, cheese means faster. She says, "Okay." And then she comes over that night, and she says, "Oh, little Johnny, salami, salami, cheese, cheese. Salami, salami, cheese, cheese." His little brother says, "Hey, little Johnny, quit making sandwiches up there. You're getting mayo all over the place." John, want to hear a joke?
Yep.
Teacher says, "Little Johnny, I got a riddle for you. There were 3 men in a boat, and the boat capsized, but only 2 of the men got their hair wet. Why is that?" Johnny says, "That's easy. Because the 3rd guy was a better swimmer." Teacher says, "Well, the correct answer is he was bald, but I like the way you're thinking." Little Johnny says, "All right, Teach, I got one for you. What is long and hard and full of semen?" Teacher says, "Little Johnny, you're going to the principal's office." He said, "What for?" "I'm a submarine, but I like the way you're thinking." Little Johnny says, "Dad, what are those things on Mom's chest?" His dad said, "Little Johnny, those are your mom's balloons. And when she dies, we'll blow them up, and she'll float right on up into heaven." Little Johnny says, "Oh, okay. Well, how come yesterday when Uncle Frank was blowing on Mom's balloons, she was screaming, 'Oh, God, I'm coming,' and she didn't go anywhere?" Little Johnny's in college, and he gets his first job at an adult toy store. Well, a brunette walks in on his first day, and she says, "How much for this black sex toy?" Well, Johnny says, $50 for the black one and $50 for the pink one. She says, "Oh, that's too much money." She walks out. Well, a redhead walks in a little while later, and she says, "Hey, how much for this pink sex toy?" Well, Johnny says, $50 for the pink one, $50 for the black one. She says, "Oh, that's too much money," and she walks out. Well, a little while later, a blonde walks in, and she says, "How much for a sex toy?" Well, Johnny says, "Well, we got a black one here for $50 and a pink one here for $50. She says, "Well, how much for that plaid one behind you?" He says, "Oh, that's a special one. That one's $250. She says, "Oh, yes, I'll take it. That's great." So when the boss comes in and says, "Hey, little Johnny, how'd you do?" He says, "Well, I didn't sell any sex toys today, but I did sell your thermos for $250. One day, little Johnny's standing at the bathroom sink shaving when Bubba, the gardener, comes in and he has to go pee real bad. Little Johnny's shaving away, and he kind of looks over and can't help but notice that Bubba has a huge pecker. He says, "Bubba, forgive me if I'm too forward, but how is that thing so big?" He says, "I don't know. Every time I go to make love to a woman, I just bang it on the bedpost 3 times. He says, "Try that." So that night, little Johnny, before going to bed with the lights off, he goes to get in bed with little Susie, and he bangs it on the bedpost 3 times. Little Susie says, "Bubba, is that you? Get out of here. Little Johnny's still home." Hey, John, want to hear a joke?
Sure.
So there's these 2 immigrant ladies that are coming over to America for the first time on a boat to New York. One lady says to the other, "I hear in America they eat dog. So if they eat dog, we will eat dog." So they get off the boat, and there's this hot dog vendor that's across the street. And they walk across and said, "I'd like 2 dogs, please." Well, the guy gives them their hot dogs wrapped in tin foil, and they go sit down at the park bench, and one lady looks down or unwraps hers, and she goes, "Oh my God, what part of the dog did you get?" I made a mistake. This morning my wife woke up crabby, and I said, "Hey, what are you so mad about? Are you on your period or something?" She calmly and collectively leaned in and whispered, "Today I started off the day in a pool of my own blood. How would you like to end the day in a pool of yours?" Whoa, shit. Didn't say anything else after that. Love you, honey. Last night I was sleeping with my windows open, and my neighbors were doing the nasty. They were going at it for about 25 minutes. So I wanted to say something so they'd hear me. So in my best Mortal Kombat voice, I said, "Finish her." They heard me and laughed. The funny part was, about 20 minutes later, I heard him say, "Round 2, fight." I have the best neighbors. Little Johnny's mom took him to the doctor when he was 4 years old for his checkup before he went into kindergarten. Doctor looks him over and says, "He looks great. Looks perfect, ready to go to school. Now, do you have any questions for me?" Mom says, "Yeah, his penis kind of is a little small. Is there anything we can do about that?" Doctor says, "Oh, yeah, that's easy. Just feed him more pancakes. The more you give him, the more it'll grow." She says, "Okay, I'll try that out." So the next morning, little Johnny gets up and goes down to the breakfast table, and there's this huge heaping pile of pancakes sitting there. Little Johnny says, "Are all these for me?" His mom grabs a plate, throws 3 of them on there. She says, "No, these 3 are for you. The rest of them, they're for your father." Little Johnny was playing at the playground when he notices his dad's car drive by with his Aunt Sarah in it. Well, he looks over and he sees that they park and they start walking towards the woods, so little Johnny follows them in there. He notices that his dad kisses his Aunt Sarah on the mouth. They lay down a blanket and they start taking off their clothes, and little Johnny's eyes get so big. And he runs home and he tells his mom, he says, Mama, Daddy and Aunt Sarah, they were kissing. They laid down a blanket, they started doing that." His mom says, "Now, little Johnny, this sounds like a great story. Maybe we should finish this at supper with your dad." So little Johnny says, "Okay." And then some time comes along, and little Johnny's mom says, "Well, how about you finish that story?" He says, "Okay, well, Dad and Aunt Sarah, they started kissing. They took off their clothes. And you know what, Mom? They did the same exact thing that you and Uncle Jeff did when Dad was away with the army." Little Johnny got sent down to the principal's office for drinking Dr. Pepper. Apparently, you're not supposed to drink pop in class. So he's sitting there in the office, and the principal calls him in. He says, "Hey, come on in. What's your name?" He says, Johnny. He says, "Oh, you have a stutter or something?" He said, "No, but my dad does. And the guy that recorded my name, he was an asshole."